The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is brought to you by Hearthside Bank and by Madisonville Marine.
Open date hit at the right time, healthy Tennessee defense, a chance for Joey Aguilar to get even more acclimated with this offense.
He rides that mesh point and that zone read so long, and then he's so quick and get around the corner. They'll do those middle runs as well. You just do so much. Oh, by the way, then he can scramble.
So I think Arkansas has to sell out against the run. That means there are going to be pass plays that can be made.
Attack, 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 always attack.
Joey Halsley saying this week, again reiterating that tempo is a luxury for them, means Tennessee has not learned its lesson.
Right.
I think they've got to do a nice job of bottling up Mike Washington. Oh, by the way, he ran off his mouth a little bit this week, so
Sure did.
some added fuel to the fire there.
I will say the comment by the running back saying that there's some holes in Tennessee's defense kind of says to me that they're motivated to go play.
Well, they posted it all over the doors of the locker room, all over the walls of the locker room. In every single one of our lockers individually, there was a piece of paper posted there about the comments that the players were making about us.
They have no chance, I think, to stop Tennessee.
The playoffs start now. Welcome in to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. We are here for the next hour to get you ready for Tennessee versus Arkansas coming up at 4:15 this afternoon. I am John Pennington, joined as always by VFL Ollie Lane right there, by John Wilkerson right here to my right, and right there VFL Marlon Walls. Appreciate you guys being here. Tennessee coming off, I'll go ahead and tell you, this segment is called Setting the Stage. It's brought to you by our friends at Hearthside Bank, always within reach. Not only are they always within reach of you, but your financial dreams are always within reach when you work with Hearthside Bank. I have nothing but great things to say about them. Check them out, hearthsidebank.com. And now to get into the bullet points, Tennessee coming off an open date, as you know. They have risen in the polls as they've been sitting on their couch last weekend. They watched other teams lose, so Tennessee is up to number 12 in both polls. Most projections of the all-important college football poll that will be coming out later this month, they have Tennessee in the playoff at this point. More on that in just a second. The question for this team is health. How healthy will they be today? Well, healthier, you would think. Jackson Moy was back against Mississippi State, played about 45 snaps. Will he play more this week? We'll see. Of course, Rodney Garner likes to rotate them anyway, but he should be back. He's had a game back and then an open week to get healthier. Devin Hobbs is expected to get his first action of the year today when the Hogs come to town. Will he be limited? We'll see, but he was not on the injury report at all this week. Right tackle David Sanders, who saw his first action in Starkville and looked good, is expected to play today. That would shift Jesse Perry back to right guard, and that would push Sham Umaroff back to the bench when Sanders is in there at right tackle. And then the News Sentinel reported this week that cornerback Jermod McCoy has still not been cleared to return. He's been taking part in workouts, and he's been at practice. When he is returning, whether he returns, that's all a question to be answered later. John, when you look at this football team, healthier,
Yes.
rising in the polls, in that playoff zone, the question is, if this team is to make the playoffs, they can afford one more loss. Mm-hmm. They can't afford a bad loss, I don't think. If you go to Alabama and lose, that's one thing. You lose to a 2-3 Arkansas team at home, that's a different beast. The playoffs start now.
Exactly, because last year your trip to Fayetteville was your first loss of the season. Last time, and then the next time you lost, it was for a spot in the SEC championship game and your trip to Athens. Totally different this year, simply for the fact that you've already lost to Georgia, got moved up in the schedule, and you can't afford this loss. Simply for the fact you look at what remains. I mean, you don't have another home game the rest of this month. You do have a trip to Tuscaloosa. You also have a trip to Lexington and Gainesville. And with history being your guide, you have to go back. If you lose to Arkansas, then you can't lose again.
Yeah.
So, and that would be a bad loss at home. You still might not survive it. But the last time that Tennessee beat Florida and Alabama on the road, same year was 2003. I believe Ollie was 4 years old.
The Sports Source was in its first season. That's it. I had dark hair.
And here's what else is interesting. It's the last time Tennessee won at either location. They are 0 for their last 20 combined in Gainesville and Tuscaloosa. So you cannot afford to lose this game. You have to defend your home turf and then hope that you can split with one of those two locations that has certainly been less than kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Marlon, I wanted to ask you, had an Arkansas player chirp this week. A couple of weeks ago, Tennessee goes to Mississippi State, and Deshaun Bishop said, I kind of want to hear the cowbells. And we talked about it from a Tennessee perspective. Do you ever want to say stuff like that? Let's flip it, because Mike Washington, the Arkansas running back, said Tennessee has a great defense, but a lot of holes. A lot of holes in their defense, so it's going to be a fun game. I don't know how you can say it's a great defense with a lot of holes. It kind of messes up. So my question is, if you're on that defense, as a former defender yourself, is that going to impact the way you play, the fact that this guy ran his mouth, or is that something that we in the media and fans pay more attention to?
Hey, 100% that's going to impact your play. You better believe around the locker room that message is getting itself around. You better believe the coaches who is bullet board material, they will find it and put it up. You better believe that's being presented to your defense as well. And I'd imagine guys like Arion Carter, Bryson Eason, Dominique Bay, Joshua Joseph. Those guys are being challenged right now to stop the run. And I'd imagine they're super excited to see this guy on Saturday. I will say it sounds like that's some Bobby Petrino going around. That's that's a little bit of his attitude, kind of that fool's gold, trying to get the team motivated. Hey, yes, you can say that in the media. That's something a coach probably said during a meeting, and the running back ran with it. But yes, you better believe 100% defensively, you're being challenged right now to show up and play hard on Saturday.
That's an interesting question. I don't follow Arkansas like we follow Tennessee, but I do wonder if he would have made that comment if Sam Pittman were still the head coach there.
No, I doubt.
That's interesting. Let me ask you this before I get to my question for you. Let's spin off of that. How is bulletin board material handled in the Josh Heupel world? Is there an actual bulletin board over there where they put stuff, or do they just electronically send you everything that's said now? How do you find that information now?
I'll give you a good example. When we were playing Florida one year, there was a bunch of talk about we can't go down there, we can't beat Florida, all this other stuff, and their players were saying stuff. Well, they posted it all over the doors of the locker room, all over the walls of the locker room, and every single one of our lockers individually, there was a piece of paper posted there about the comments that the players were making about us. So there's bulletin board material.
So Mike, it's individual locker room material. So in other words, Mike Washington's quote's going to be strung up in a lot of
I'd imagine they had a defensive meeting, and that was the first thing they started off with, this cat saying that. So
been there all week.
They know how to do that.
All right.
The printed page is still strong in athletic circles.
That's right. Let me ask you, Ollie, it's kind of along those same lines. Arkansas, one of 3 teams to beat Tennessee last year, as John mentioned. How much, fans, media, we all look at it, it's a revenge game. One of the reasons we talked about it on our Sunday show a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, we ranked the upcoming games for Tennessee, and a lot of people had Arkansas as the 3rd toughest. I'm like, I don't see that, because you remember what happened last year. I don't see Arkansas being the 3rd toughest. Well, my question, how much of that revenge thing takes place inside the team? Is Josh Heupel someone who's going to make a big deal out of that all week long, or is he just going to be taking care of business, and yet the score may be printed in your locker room? How much of the revenge thing plays into this?
Oh, there's definitely a lot of that plays into it. I mean, Heupel's a guy, he takes a lot of things personal. And especially when you look at the game last year, we didn't play good, so his product didn't look good. So he takes that as a personal hit that, well, I've got to avenge myself because we're better than what we put on tape last year. And he does that for every game that he's lost at Tennessee. He comes back stronger and harder the next year because, history repeats itself if you forget it. He doesn't let that history be forgotten. He's going to remind the players, hey, do you remember what happened last year? Came off the bye week and we went and lost to a team that was nowhere near as close as good as us. And so he's going to continue to remind those guys as this game time's coming up too, just so they're ready to go. So,
how much on a personal motivation, and you both can answer this, if you had a bad game last year, just personally, how much you like, okay, I went against this guy last year and he got the best of me. How much is that a personal motivator?
Oh, it's a huge motivator because, every time you go out on the field, you want to put a good product. And when you know you now have a second shot at it, when you didn't have it, whatever you needed the first time to do it, it's a huge motivator because now you get to prove yourself again. You get to earn that back, kind of take that off your back. Whereas, a lot of times when you play before it was the East and West, you only got to see them maybe one time in your career and you never got that lick back. Now you're getting that opportunity. It's going to motivate you a lot.
I would say, when you think about what happened to Tennessee and how we finished the season last year, we ran into that juggernaut of Ohio State. I'd imagine a lot of those guys have been thinking, man, if we would have took care of business on the road in Fayetteville, we don't run into Ohio State as early as we did
Right.
and get buzzed out like we did. So you're definitely motivated about it. These guys are excited to get out here and go play. And then also, like I said, just with the coaching change, I'm guaranteeing Josh Heupel is not allowing that to kind of fluster around the building. Hey, let's take these guys easy. It's a motivating point, and last year it's just another ammunition that you can point to and say, all right, we got to get ready to go.
And John, I believe with the exception of Georgia, who's beaten an awful lot of teams in this league, with the exception of Georgia, I don't think Josh Heupel's lost back-to-back games to anybody in this conference. I think he's, Alabama's been off and on, Florida's been off and on. I don't think anybody's gotten the best of him 2 years in a row except for Georgia.
Yeah.
And Arkansas ain't Georgia.
That's right. In fact, there's 2 teams that he has yet to play as the head coach of the Volunteers, and there's only a total of 3 teams that he hasn't beaten. And so this is actually one of them. But you're right. He, as to echo what Ollie said, he has shown that he's going to make sure that everything is buttoned up as much as possible to try and mark back.
We got a lot of stuff to cover in today's show. Along with Marlon, John, and Ollie, we've got By the Numbers segment coming up with Tyler Ivins, Ryan Callahan, Will West. But next, when we come back, we got a scouting report for you for Arkansas. The names you need to know on offense. They got a really good quarterback. The names you need to know on their defense. Not a great defense, but they do have some people you need to know about. That's our scouting report. It's coming up with Paige Dower and Ryan Callahan and Vince Farrar. That's next. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment is called the Scouting Report. We go across the studio right now to Paige Dower and her team to break down the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Thanks, John. We're now joined by Vince Farrar of 99.1 The Sports Animal and Ryan Callahan of Go Vols 24/7. This is such a unique matchup between Tennessee and Arkansas's quarterback and Taylen Green. I'm for sure he keeps up defensive coordinators watching film on him, trying to figure out how they'll slow him down, because I think what makes him so dynamic is how he utilizes his legs. Amongst quarterbacks in the country, he has the 4th most rushing yards, and that's also 35th best in the country. And because of that, I think that poses a real challenge for Tennessee's defense. And where they're successful, I think, is in deception, right? Whether read options or RPOs, and we've seen that time and time again. Maybe Ole Miss, but I think Taylen Green specifically is probably key number 1 for Tennessee to win.
He puts you in such a bind. He rides that mesh point and that zone read so long, and then he's so quick and get around the corner. They'll do those middle runs as well. You just do so much. Oh, by the way, then he can scramble and rush for yards as well. He is really dynamic. He's improved as a decision maker and a passer. He's our leading rusher, as good as their backs are, and we'll get to them in a minute. But he's tough to bring down. There's a lot of challenges with this guy that can kind of elevate what the team talent level is.
Yeah, he's one of 3 active quarterbacks, I believe, with more than 2,000 career rushing yards. So he puts up a lot of numbers on the ground, and he's pretty dangerous with his arm too. The amazing thing about last year's game, even though Tennessee lost in Fayetteville, it wasn't really Taylen Green that beat them.
Right.
They kind of held him to 12 or 13 points before Malachi Singleton, the backup quarterback, had to come in and led them on what turned out to be the game-winning drive. But that still doesn't mean this defense won't have more problems with them than it did a year ago. We've obviously seen Tennessee give up some points, give up some yards. How are they? We haven't seen them really face a quarterback quite like this. Gunnar Stockton gave them a little bit of this, and he ended up throwing for a lot of yards against Tennessee. So how do they deal with the quarterback that's got the arm, the experience that Taylen Green has? I don't think he'll be rattled by this environment in Knoxville. So how does Tennessee deal with that, along with the rushing threat? We've seen them struggle to contain a lot of runs that have bounced to the outside.
Right.
Does that translate to quarterback runs as well? There's a lot of layers to this, where Tennessee's got to do a really good job against Taylen Green, keeping him in the pocket. I think you want him throwing the ball, but he can beat you either way.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it too, the both of you talking about the running attack from the actual running backs. You could specifically look to Mike Washington. He is 6'2", almost 230 pounds. I'm like, that's nearly the size of Joshua Joseph. So he is a big back. You saw that against Mississippi State when their running back had success against Tennessee. And I think that poses a real challenge for Tennessee to show improvement, maybe with the gap integrity and tackling.
Yeah, my thought on this game is, if Arkansas is going to be a real threat to pull the upset here, it's going to have to be kind of, maybe not a track meet, but a fairly high-scoring game. Their defense hasn't done a great job of shutting teams down. We'll see if throwing some different things might change that outlook for the defense this week. But the running game is the strength of Arkansas's offense. They're rushing for 213 yards a game. Mike Washington, the leader of that group, but also Braylon Russell, a former Tennessee target. a bigger back. He's listed at 230 something. I think he's probably even a little heavier than that. Lines up at fullback a lot, and so Tennessee has to watch for both those guys. They struggled a little bit against bigger backs against Mississippi State as well. So I think they've got to do a nice job of bottling up Mike Washington. Oh, by the way, he ran off his mouth a little bit this week, so some added fuel to the fire there. So we'll see how Tennessee deals with him. I think that's a big storyline, like you said, those zone reads and things like that. You got to watch both of those guys to make sure you kind of keep them both in check.
Yeah, and Russell did a good job against Tennessee last year. It's tough. He's probably 240 plus, let's be honest. But they do so many different things with him. Now, the one thing with them is they will put the ball on the ground. They've lost a couple of games where they had opportunities to win Memphis and Ole Miss, where if they don't turn it over, they could win those games, and it's a completely different season. Sam Pittman's still the coach, all those kind of things. And then you just never know what new wrinkles they're going to have with the run game. I expect them to be very aggressive in running Taylen Green, but then also having some creative runs with Washington and Russell, maybe in the game at the same time.
And we have seen Tennessee give up some plays in the run game this year. I mean, that defense has not been perfect on either side, but in the run game against Mississippi State, even a little bit against Georgia, we've seen them other teams have some success against them so far this year.
Yeah, and Vince, you mentioned Sam Pittman, obviously no longer the head coach, and now you have Bobby Petrino in there making defensive changes, and that's what gave Tennessee last season a ton of issues. What are you seeing kind of being the keys on defense for Arkansas?
Well, I think in all, we talked about what could be a little bit different on offense. Obviously, the defense is where they need the most help and where they've struggled the most. Jay Adams, their defensive line coach that came from the NFL, he is I've talked to some people about him, very aggressive, very much up the field type of teaching technique. And then also, Bobby Petrino, I expect them to be very aggressive with the blitz. Petrino even said it this week, hey, we need to make it uncomfortable for Aguilar. So they're going to give them similar looks as they did last year with their 3 down front, but then also I think they're going to blitz like crazy. So Tennessee needs to have answers, but 2 really good defensive players. Quincy Rhodes has a couple of games with multiple sacks. Julian Neal's their leading interceptor, pass breakups as well. So they have some individual pieces, and they're going to try to highlight those guys and get after Tennessee, I think, with aggressiveness on defense.
Yeah, like you said, it's sort of the big mystery that we've talked about all week is what Arkansas will do. 3 down fronts is what Tennessee's expecting a lot of. But either way, they've got some nice pieces there that at least are capable of making some plays. Right. So I don't think it's an Arkansas defense we should be expecting to shut Tennessee down. They've obviously had trouble stopping teams, but if they make a few big plays here and there, if it ends up being a 35-31 or higher scoring kind of track meet, that's the kind of thing that can matter. Those guys make a big play at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit about Bobby Petrino, Sam Pittman. Is that the advantage for Tennessee or is that the advantage for Arkansas? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our program is called Volunteer Views, brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. That's VFL Daniel Hood. If you need a new roof, if you need roof repair, if you need a roof cleaning, which can actually add to the life of your roof, you need to call Daniel Hood Roofing. Anywhere between Knoxville, Nashville, and all parts outside there as well. Daniel Hood Roofing. All right, John Pennington, rejoined by Ollie Lane and Marlon Walls, 2 VFLs. They are the volunteer in this Volunteer Views.
There we go.
All week I've heard that Arkansas has made their coaching change. You had a new interim coach in Bobby Petrino, Pittman out. He immediately whacked 3 guys on the defensive side of the ball, promoted another guy from within to be the new defensive coordinator. And I've heard all week that, no, this is a good thing for Tennessee. It's a good thing for Tennessee. They're having to learn their side of the ball. And I can see that. I can see that. I can also see the other side, that is, you don't know what's coming. You don't know, you build game plans based on tendencies. And my guess is Bobby Petrino is about to break a lot of tendencies. How many times are they going to blitz defensively? How many times are they going to go for it on 4th down? You don't know any of that stuff. So, Ollie, I ask you, we'll start with you. Is this an advantage either way? Is it an advantage for Arkansas because Tennessee doesn't know what they're going to do? Is it an advantage for Tennessee, as so many people say, because Arkansas's coaches are just having to learn their team right now?
I think the advantage lies on both sides, and I'm going to preface this by saying there's only so much that you can go in and change in a week. I mean, they've had Sam Pittman was there for 4 years, so they've been running Sam Pittman's system. That's not going to change. So they're going to continue to run that same kind of system, but Paterno's probably going to put some wrinkles and stuff into it that'll make it different. I think if you're going to look at
Petrino.
Paterno. But you see the advantage on both sides. I think it falls heavier on Tennessee's side just because you do still have somewhat of what their tendencies are, what they're going to run. But on the other side, you're also trying to make up some things, kind of realize, all right, this is going to be different. I mean, it's not a lot of situations where an interim head coach comes in and then axes 3 people and tries to change up a bunch of things in the middle of the season. However, he's been in Arkansas. He knows the culture, knows what he wants to do. I'm sure he's probably been planning this for a couple of years now.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I think he's going to come in ready for this. He's going to try to throw some different things at us. But at the same time, this is the same Arkansas team that lost hugely to Notre Dame the last time they were out. They have a lot of issues that's not just scheme issues for me. And that's why I don't think after 1 week of, hey, new coach, yes, you had a bye week, you're not going to see a lot of changes in this Arkansas team. I don't believe that will make anything of a direct impact on how Tennessee handles them in this game.
Okay. I would just say go ask Penn State. Because UCLA made their changes and they look different. But again, you may be right. Part of that may have just been Penn State's having to fly across the country. Marlon, your thoughts on, is there an advantage here? You've been through it.
Yeah.
Now, it was a little different. It wasn't mid-season.
Right.
It was the end of the year when Derek Dooley got the ouster.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the team didn't like Derek Dooley.
No.
I think the team at Arkansas, they weren't playing hard for him, but they seemed to like Sam Pittman. So maybe that's a difference. But Jim Chaney came in. You guys went and kicked Kentucky's tail. Do you believe this can make a change in terms of the team attitude and mood and that kind of thing?
And see, you got something there. That's where I was about to go. I think just universally around what I've heard about Sam Pittman, and then also he was at Tennessee when I was at Tennessee. Guys usually love Sam Pittman. He's a great guy, good family guy. He always used to bring little treats in for the defensive guys. So I would imagine like it's the flip, it's reverse. When Dooley was ousted, we was ready for that guy to go. Jim Chaney was that guy, like a Sam Pittman kind of guy that was playing the background, but like we all loved him. And so we was all kind of tired of Dooley. And so in that aspect, we was ready to go. We was excited to go try to help win the first game for Jim Chaney. Whereas on this side, from what I understand about Petrino, he's a different kind of cat. And so and then also I'd imagine some of those guys kind of probably figured out Petrino wanted to do this in the first place and get rid of him. And so I'd imagine, I think it's a little bit different because we were a little bit motivated to get Dooley out of the building. These guys are probably hurting that Sam Pittman's out of there. He's a great guy.
That's a good point. How much are you hurting for the guy that's left? Now, the other side to that, again, always being the devil's advocate, that's what the show host is supposed to be. You could also look at it and say maybe they got too comfortable with Sam Pittman, and maybe they need somebody who's more of a jackass.
I mean, to a point, I mean, you can play on that side of being too much of a player's coach, and then you don't get the things done that you need to get done. You got to have a good weight of discipline and also performance. You can't be too over disciplined like certain coaches, and then you have no performance. But you got to play in on both sides just enough to get that perfect. There's like a perfect storm that you can create with that.
Schools often try to do that. You know, if you got a player's coach, then you go get the hard ass. If you got a general, then you go get a player's coach. So it'll be interesting to see how much that impacts this at all. My other question is, in terms of a team with nothing to lose, you know, that's a dangerous situation. And you're going against a team that can throw anything at you. I mean, in terms of not knowing what's coming.
Right.
Your thoughts on that aspect of it? I asked Ollie about it. Your thoughts on you're going against an Arkansas team that, you've seen what they've done this year, but you really don't know. I'm sure Petrino's not going to come in and do the same things that the last guy was doing.
No,
he's going to try and break tendencies.
And I think you're going to see some of that today. I think you're going to see some different formations. I think you're going to see some different things on the defensive side of the ball, him promoting the guy from within. That means some conversations already been had beforehand. And again, it just, for me, it goes back to motivation. I think you're going to find out pretty early today if they're motivated to play for this guy, or is it like you snubbed our coach, you've been kind of trying to get him out of the whole time, we're going to tuck our tail and run. I will say the comment by the running back saying that there's some holes in Tennessee's defense kind of says to me that they're motivated to go play. But that always could be fool's gold. I think you'll find out pretty soon what kind of team you got motivation-wise.
I think this would also be more impactful for them if they were at home. If Tennessee were going to Arkansas and they just done this, that would have a different feeling. The UCLA Penn State example. Well, that happened and you're traveling to UCLA. That was not them going to Penn State and flipping some giant switch. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. When we come back, what should you expect from today's game? We just talked about the different wrinkles you could see. We got three guys who are going to break that down by the numbers. That's next, coming back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This is a segment we call By the Numbers. We head across the studio to Tyler Ivins and his crew to break down today's game.
John, I appreciate it. Tag teaming the numbers with Ryan Callahan from Go Vols 24/7. My co-host from 99.1 The Sports Animal, Will West. Gentlemen, let's just hit this ground running, shall we? Rumors are out there that David Sanders is going to get his first start today on the offensive line, and if in fact Arkansas is averaging 2.2 sacks per game, but Tennessee is giving up fewer than 1 per game. All right, so let's assume that the freshman's going to get a start here today. With David Sanders inserted in the lineup, will the Razorbacks record over under Ryan Callahan 1.5 sacks today?
I'm going to say over here, and I'm going to say this not because Arkansas has a great defense or that Tennessee's offensive line is going to struggle, but I just think Arkansas is going to be really aggressive today. I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at Tennessee defensively. They've got to do something to try to slow down Tennessee's passing game. So I think they'll blitz a lot, do what they can to try to disrupt things. It won't be successful much, but I think they can at least get a couple sacks.
Yeah, I'll take the over as well. I think that they'll get, because 2's not a big number.
Yeah, exactly.
Tennessee, I think, Arkansas is going to load up in the box. They have the worst rush defense that we've seen in a long time in the Southeastern Conference. We mentioned this earlier. Alabama and A&M averaged 5.5 yards per carry against them. Yeah. So I think that what we'll see is them change things up, load up the line of scrimmage, and probably get lit up in the passing game.
It may not be blitz packages. I think they'll get there sometimes with even 4, but there will be a coverage sack or 2 that's put into place during this game. It's a pretty low number, but it's a number where it could be the difference in this game. I'm with the other 2 individuals. I as well will sweep it and take the over. Will, I'm going to get started with you here. This is nuts to me out of all the stats that we've talked about the last couple of weeks, but here we are. The Razorbacks are converting a terrific 57.8% on third downs. What? Yeah. And gentlemen, maybe I'm still in your thunder here, going back to the Mississippi State game on what they did on third downs. But will they go under or over 50.5% on third down conversions later this afternoon?
I'm going to say over. I think it'll be more than 60%. I think Tennessee's defense is bad. Just point blank, it's not good, and Bobby Petrino is a very good coach, and Taylen Green is a very good quarterback. So you put all those together, I don't think that Arkansas is going to win this game. They're going to put up points.
I really struggle with this one. I think it's a good number. I'm going to say under, but not by much. I'm going to say they end up somewhere in the 40s, maybe 45, 47%, but I think Tennessee will get some stops. I think the pass rush is the only thing Tennessee has going for it that can make a difference in this number. So I think they'll get some pressure on Taylen Green, maybe get a couple sacks at some point, maybe stop him to hold him to 9 yards on a 3rd and 13, something like that. But it's going to be hard to keep Arkansas below that number. I think they'll just squeeze under 50% though.
I anticipate that the returning soldiers on the defensive line, a lot of people believe that this is a David Hobbs spot. He could return in this game. I believe so as well. I think it's just under this number as well. I assume that the struggles that Tennessee's defense has seen thus far through the season is because they've just been lacking in personnel. Let's see if that changes because they are, in fact, getting some of this depth back later this afternoon. Back to you, Ryan. Joey Aguilar, averaging 31.4 passes per game. Those are attempts. But Arkansas has the worst rush defense, as you've already highlighted, Will, in the entire SEC. So a unique number, like this one as well. Mm-hmm. Over under 28.5 pass attempts for Tennessee starting quarterback later this afternoon.
I'm going to say over just because I think Arkansas will make Tennessee put up a little bit more of a fight than we're expecting in this game. They've got a history of playing pretty well on the road. When they don't win, they tend to lose by 7 or fewer on the road over the past few years. So I think Arkansas makes this an interesting game and makes Tennessee have to throw it a little bit more than we're expecting. I could see this going under if Tennessee hits a few deep balls. That's the only thing that makes me a little nervous about this one. If you hit a couple 70-yarders to Brazel or Mike Matthews, maybe it ends up around 25. But I'll say over because I think Arkansas makes it interesting.
I'm going to say not just over, but well over. I think Tennessee, the coaches aren't stupid. They're going to throw the football. The strength of your team is throwing the football at tempo. So throw the football at tempo, and that opens up everything else that you want to do in the running game. I also think Arkansas will sell out against the run in this one. And the one thing that does concern me, as Ryan said, if Tennessee's blowing them out, that will limit the number of pass attempts for Joey.
This is going to be an over for me as well. I just think that this is Tennessee's DNA. Even if it's short attempts dumped out into the flat, usually you see Aguilar between 28 to 32 passes. And if you told me right now I can get this on a much higher end on that 28, I'm just going to take the odds and say it ends up being in that area. 21 for 30, 24 for 31 day for Joey Aguilar. Good number. We can take advantage of that attempt total, and I'll say 28.5 north with a green arrow. Last one, Will, wrap us up here. Chris Brazel's averaging 6 catches for $106 and a touchdown per. His anytime touchdown numbers outside of the state of Tennessee, if you're in a certain sports book, they're remarkable. They're like Saquon Barkley-esque last year in the NFL. Will he go over under his averages today? Which, let me make sure I'm specific on this. Over means he'll hit all 3. But if you go under, he will miss one of those 3 stats. So either 6, 106, and finding a trip into the end zone.
I'm going to take the over. I think Tennessee will throw the football. I also think Arkansas has to sell out against the run. That means there are going to be pass plays that can be made. He'll get into the end zone. So the problem is this. He'll push on the touchdown. And everything else, I think he'll go over in this one because Arkansas has to sell out against the run.
I'm going to take the under just because of the odds of one of these falling short. So I'll say under on maybe the receptions being the most likely because I could see him hitting a deep ball, getting 125 with the top of a long touchdown, but maybe end up at 5 catches. So I'll take the under and say he misses one of them.
I'm going to take the under, but I think it's the yardage.
Oh, okay.
I think Arkansas is going to do whatever it takes to say anybody else can beat us on this football field, but it won't be 17. So keeping 17 in check. Heck, I could see him getting 8, 9 catches and getting a touchdown, but his yardage only totals 60, 70 yards, trying to just keep him contained and see what the results are with 17, maybe staying a little bit more grounded than he normally is. We'll appreciate you, brother Ryan Callahan. And we're going to throw things back around. Coming up next, John Pennington and the rest of the panel getting you ready for what you need to know about Arkansas and the keys to victory to pull off a W at Neyland Stadium against the Hogs.
Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment is called The Keys to Victory. It's brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Man, it's the key to a new boat right there. People drive from all over the South to take advantage of their great selection, unbelievable prices. Visit madmarine.com to learn more about the best boat dealer in the state of Tennessee. There's a reason people come from the mid-state to East Tennessee to pick them up in Madisonville. Laundry list time, gentlemen. I want to start with, well, when we say keys to victory, it's the keys to a victory for Tennessee. Ollie, we'll start with you. What's Tennessee got to do today?
As much as Vol fans probably don't want to hear this, we need to find some other targets. I love Chris Brazel. I love that we're getting him the ball a ton. But at some point, and now you're halfway in the season, defenses are going to start picking up on that. They're going to start double teaming the guy, making it almost impossible for him to even get an option. Yeah. We're going to have these other options like Staley, Matthews, Kitzelman, maybe an Ethan Davis thrown in there to really
Who's
step
banged up
up.
a little. We'll see how much he plays today. Yeah.
But we need these guys to step up and start being more viable options for us. And not to say that they're not talented because when they do get the ball, they do some pretty amazing things. But right now, when you look at this offense, it's very centered around can we get Brazel the football or not?
Yeah.
It's a big-time call. Hey, where's Brazel at? We're going to give him the football. You need these other pieces to start picking up because especially when you go against an Alabama, a Florida, they're going to key on that. They're going to double team them, and it's going to make it almost render your offense immobile if you don't have those other options to go to.
I was talking to somebody during the Mississippi State game, and I said, "My goodness, I think Chris Brazel is your mover now. He's your most trustworthy guy." Which it's been a running back the last couple of years. So for him to be that guy, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And Matthews has had a game or two where it's pretty good. Staley said some good numbers. But the problem I keep going back to, Brazel last year, Pro Football Focus credited him with 6 drops. Matthews and Staley are already at 3, and you're not even halfway through the season. Yeah. You got to cut that down. They need somebody to pick up with the consistency there. I agree with you. In terms of Chris Brazel, I thought this stat was incredible. He's been thrown at 38 times so far. He's completed a pass to him on 31 times. When you're 31 out of 38 in your targets, it's awfully darn good. It's awfully darn good. I'll throw out one. On paper, these are the 2 worst defenses in the SEC. They're awful. It's 15 and 16 in just about every category. but I don't think Arkansas has the horses to cash in the way that Tennessee does. Yeah. But they do have one horse, one really good horse in their quarterback, Taylen Green, especially when he runs the football and especially when he goes around the edge, which is something we've been talking about for weeks now. I know you've talked about it. Will Overstreet's talked about it on our Sunday show. Tennessee hasn't set the edge well this year. And for Green, he's averaging 9.6 yards per carry when he runs it, 12.4 yards per carry when it's a scramble, 17.7 yards on 10 runs around right end. UT had better set the edge today.
Yeah.
John Wilkerson, keys to victory. What do you got number one for you?
Well, for me, you've got a coaching change, much publicized, and I do think, and it was actually Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello who tossed this out. He goes, for guys that have had the season not go their way, this is a clean slate. This is a chance for them just to exhale, and it's not as though they're carrying the weight of their 2-3 record on their shoulders. Now, it's different coaches that you're looking to impress, and it's a new opportunity. So he says that's really dangerous, and I couldn't agree more. And so for Tennessee, I think it's going to be key, if possible, to take hope away as early as possible. Create, if you can, force some turnovers. They are a team that's very friendly to the other side at times when it comes to handing it over. So if you can get an early score and an early turnover, I think that'd be huge.
You need to hang one of those signs as Arkansas comes in, abandon all hope. All ye winter. Yeah. And the one way to do that, I know you wanted to go here too. There's an old saying by Johnny Matrix.
That's right. Attack, 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 always attack. And I do think that when you look at, they had an opportunity to win the game at Memphis, and they fumbled it inside the 5. Had the opportunity driving for a potential winning score in Oxford, and they fumbled that opportunity away. So hunt the football.
Very good. Marlon, key.
Keys to victory is we want to take that quote personally by the running back.
I
think defensively, both of these defenses struggle. High-powered offense, you rely on your offense to get points. Their offense is Taylen Green. I think you got to shut down what you can. I think you got to take those quotes personally. I think the defense has to step up, play physical, play fast, play motivated football, and I think that'll be a big key to victory for us, for our defense to take a step up. And let's shut these guys down early.
Any other step-ups that we need here?
I need the running back room in our running game to really make a huge impact in this one. It was a slow, rough start for them in Mississippi State, and I understand you're on the road. A way you can defeat and break a team's spirit is you run the ball over them. We've got the backs to do it. We've got the offensive line to do it. We've got the scheme to do it. We need to go out there and have an extreme rushing attack, because that's just the number one way you're going to get them to check out of the game. Well, we can't stop them. They're running the ball over us. They're knocking us down. That's going to kill a team's motivation to continue to go.
You're also killing the clock too. So you're not only taking the morale away, you're eating any chance of them making some sort of comeback when you're just rolling that clock. As Tyler and Will and Ryan talked about in that last segment across the room there, this Arkansas run defense is god-awful. It is terrible. I mean, I believe Alabama A&M ran for 5 yards a carry against them. This is one I'll be interested to see how Tennessee attacks today. Do they come out and throw it? I mean, they've been throwing it a lot. That's another thing we just covered. But 31 pass attempts per game for Joey Aguilar. Do they come out and throw it all over the yard, or do you look at it and say this is the game where we get our run game right by running on this guy because they don't have a great run defense? I would say another key to victory is you got to continue. Colton Hood and Ty Redmond have to continue to pick up the slack. We don't know. I don't think Ricky Gibson will be back this year. I have my doubts about Jermod McCoy coming back this year, personally. We'll see. There's talk, he could be back for Alabama. I don't know. We'll see. If that's the case, then Ty Redmond, who's been picked on, we showed it on our Sunday show last week, 33 attempts against him. Nobody else has been thrown on more than 19 times at Tennessee. However, Pro Football Focus gives him a above-average grade. So he's done well. It's just you're seeing a lot of passes completed on him because there's a higher number being thrown at him. But he needs to continue to grow and get better and hold up. For a true freshman, he's thrown in on the deep end. That's tough for him. He's got to continue to make good on that. Any other quick keys to victory?
I hope that if you do force him to punt as opposed to turning him over, that it's Boo Carter who's back there.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Hope our special teams is a lot better this week than it was 2 weeks ago.
And along those same lines, be alert. Be alert, because you had a fake punt successfully run against you at Mississippi State. We have no clue. Again, this may be one game where Petrino just comes out and says, we're going on 4th down every time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is the Bobby Petrino effect. This guy's coaching for the job. which means you're going to see all kind of funky formations. You might get some fake punts, all the rest of that. Like, he know he has to put out a good showing, and so Tennessee's got to be ready for that.
When's the last time you saw an end around on a kick return, for example? Just bizarro things.
Yeah.
And, man, ain't I going to look smart if Arkansas comes out there and runs an end around on a kick return. All right. When we come back, how about some predictions for this game? We've talked about the keys for Tennessee. You've heard the other groups talk about the scouting report, talk about the numbers. Let's all give you some picks. 9 predictions, score predictions for Tennessee, Arkansas. That's next. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment is called Who Wins and Why. It's brought to you by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive. If you make the trip to Knoxville to buy your Kia there, you're going to win. That's because they will beat any deal on any new Kia from anywhere outside of their own lot. They will beat anybody's deal. So if you're looking for a new Kia, Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive. Let's go across the room right now and get some picks from the other group, and then we'll be back with ours.
I think Tennessee comes off the bye week with another victory in conference play. I'll take the Volunteers 41-31, and I think it's because guys like Joshua Josephs ends up affecting Taylen Green in their rush attack, and that helps get a couple more stops, leading to a nice sizable win for Tennessee.
I'm going to go with Tennessee as well. High scoring, obviously, because I think Tennessee can score 45-21 Volunteers. Arkansas will get some yards. They'll get some scores. It's going to be tough to defend, but I also think they're going to turn it over even if they're moving the ball on Tennessee. And they have no chance, I think, to stop Tennessee. So I like them to pull away and I guess cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee 45-27. I think Tennessee will score its fair share of points. They've scored 40-plus on everyone else they've played. I don't see that stopping against a defense that's been pretty bad. Arkansas will keep up, make this interesting for a little while. They've had some good road game performances even in losses, but I think Tennessee pulls away eventually in this one.
Well, I went back and forth on this pick, but I feel pretty comfortable, and I'll even let the line in Vegas guide me. Tennessee 41, Hogs 28. You can kitchen sink all you want Bobby Petrino in this game. Open date hit at the right time. Healthy Tennessee defense. A chance for Joey Aguilar to get even more acclimated with this offense. Body blows, knockout punch fourth quarter.
I want to pick this game as a close one, but I'm going to say 41-30. Tennessee wins. Joey Halsley saying this week, again reiterating that tempo is a luxury for them, means Tennessee has not learned its lesson.
Right.
Everyone's trying to sell me on what a great Mississippi State team that was that Tennessee had a close win against. That's not a good football team if you watch them play outside of the Arizona State game. And going slow meant you only scored 14 points with your offensive regulation. Tennessee might blow them out because I don't know if Arkansas has quit, but 41-30 is where I'll land, and I'll kind of split that in half. I think Tennessee wins. I think Tennessee's in control of most of this game. I think they could just completely dog walk Arkansas, but I think they won't because they're going to try to prove the point that no, we don't need to go tempo full time. Everyone else is wrong, and we're right.
Thanks to all those folks. Time for our predictions. Marlon Walls, VFL Marlon Walls. What's your prediction, Tennessee, Arkansas?
All right, I've got Tennessee 38-13. Reason being, I think Arkansas comes out, hair on fire a little bit, and then we put the fire out. They score, get a field goal late. We run them out of the stadium.
Okay, big win for Tennessee. Where are you going, John?
Tennessee 45-27. I think both teams score a little bit against the other's defense, but I do think in the end Tennessee adjusts better in slowing them down as well as making more things happen.
Okay, I like where you're going. I'm going to throw another touchdown on for Arkansas, though. Tennessee's defense hasn't been great this year. They've been giving up 30 points a game. So's Arkansas, but I think, as I said earlier, I just think Tennessee has more horses, especially at home. I'm a little worried because Arkansas, again, you don't know what to expect. But I take Tennessee 45-34. I should have said the score earlier, but I didn't. These guys did it properly. I didn't. Tennessee 45-34 in this one. Ollie, what are you doing?
Taking the Vols 52-17. I think we're just a lot better team on paper. I think we're going to come out and show them that we're a better team. I think we still have some grumbling disruptions from Mississippi State that we want to go out and show that, no, this offense is better than just scoring 14 points in a game. And so I think they're really going to put it on the Razorbacks.
All right, very good. So we've got everybody's taking the Vols today. In terms of a playoff push, John, we talked about it in that first segment, it really starts today. So for the fans, with the exception of New Mexico State, all these SEC games, they're big.
Yep.
Every one of them matters at this point.
Yeah, just ask Texas about its trip to Gainesville last weekend.
Yes. You got to take them seriously.
Yeah, and I mean, for them, they already had a non-conference loss. Not a significant ding because it was at Ohio State, but still, now they are the ones that are skating on thin ice.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tennessee's got to take care of business against Arkansas today. I want to thank all of these people for taking care of business here. I also want to thank all of our sponsors right down the line for supporting the show. Please support them. I want to remind you that you can catch our Sunday show, the Sports Source, at 11 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Time, right here if you're watching on WATE in Knoxville. You can also catch it if you're watching on CW Nashville. You can catch it on the Sports Source Digital Network, our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search at Sports Source Digital Network. It goes up there at 3 p.m. Central Time. And we've got tons of content that comes your way throughout the week on the Sports Source Digital Network as well. And then, of course, next Saturday, we'll be back to preview Tennessee, Alabama. So there's a lot of ways you can watch us here at the Sports Source. We appreciate any and all of them that you check out. We will see you tomorrow for the Sports Source and next week for the Saturday Kickoff. Have a good week. Go Vols.